Hope versus Steffi. The final war for Forrester Creations ***. The walls of Forrester Creations had seen scandal, betrayal, and heartbreak. But never a storm like this. When Brooke Logan, fashion icon and matriarch, walked into her doctor's office for what was supposed to be a routine checkup, she never expected her world to collapse in a single sentence. Stage 4 cancer. Aggressive. Inoperable. Her options limited. Her time uncertain. Brooke didn't tell anyone immediately. She didn't cry. She didn't scream. She went home, looked in the mirror, and made a decision. She wouldn't spend her remaining days fading into the background. She would leave a legacy, one final stamp on the family empire she helped build. And so, with hands that barely trembled and lips pressed tight, she signed the papers. She named Hope Logan as the acting CEO of Forrester Creations. Not temporary. Not interim. Full authority. Effective immediately. The announcement stunned everyone, but none more than Steffi Forrester. She marched into Brooke's office, demanding an explanation. Her voice was cold, her anger sharp. "You gave my family's company to your daughter?" Brooke, calm but firm, said only, "She's ready. And I trust her." To Steffi, it was betrayal of the highest order. She was a Forrester by blood, a former CEO, and the one who'd kept the company afloat through scandal after scandal. Hope, in her eyes, was a designer. A dreamer, not a leader. But Brooke's signature on that document was final. Hope took the seat. And the war began. Hope tried to be diplomatic at first. She offered to collaborate, to keep Steffi as co-president. But Steffi wasn't interested in sharing power, especially not with the woman who had once tried to take her family, her company, and even her husband. She refused every offer. Instead, she started gathering support from the inside. Thomas, caught between his sister and the mother of his child, initially stayed neutral. But when Hope refused to prioritize his designs, choosing instead to push forward her New Vision collection under a rebranded Hope for the Future, he quietly aligned with Steffi. Ridge tried to broker peace, but his silence on Brooke's decision made things worse. Eric, still recovering from his health crisis, stayed out of it, though his loyalty leaned towards Steffi. Carter, loyal to the family and the company, grew uneasy as the power struggle intensified. Hope, however, wasn't the same passive woman she'd once been. Empowered by Brooke's faith, she started making executive moves that shocked everyone. She revamped the Forrester marketing division, let go of 3 senior managers who had opposed her mother in the past, and appointed new faces, including some from outside the family. She brought in a top executive from New York, Ava Delgado, a sharp, ruthless strategist who quickly became her right hand. Steffi, furious, accused Hope of turning Forrester into a Logan-run empire. She called an emergency board meeting to overturn Brooke's appointment and reinstate herself as CEO. But Hope, anticipating the move, had already secured majority backing from the board. She offered stock incentives, promotions, and a long-term vision that appealed to the shareholders' bottom line. The vote was split, but Hope held the majority. She stayed in power. That's when Steffi stopped playing fair. She began leaking internal memos to the press, suggesting that Hope's rise was driven by nepotism and personal vendettas. She used her connections with media outlets to spread whispers about Hope's mental fitness and her past entanglements with Thomas. The damage to Hope's public image was swift. Influencers began boycotting Hope for the Future. Sales dipped. And the press labeled Forrester as a company at war with itself. Hope retaliated just as fiercely. She initiated a full audit of past Forrester expenditures, particularly during Steffi's last term as CEO. Financial inconsistencies surfaced. Misappropriated travel expenses. unapproved bonus payouts. While nothing pointed directly to criminal activity, the implication was clear. Steffi had run the company with more emotion than discipline. Hope didn't press charges, but she leaked the findings. And just like that, the spotlight shifted. Alliances shifted too. Paris Buckingham, previously loyal to Steffi, crossed over to Hope's side, citing a fresh vision and accountability. Even Zend began to pull away, frustrated with Steffi's growing obsession with reclaiming the throne. The Forrester offices became a battlefield. Departments picked sides. Loyalty turned into espionage. Emails were monitored. Conversations recorded. Hope installed private security in the executive wing. Steffi responded by creating her own off-site design studio, pulling Thomas and his team with her. Meanwhile, Brooke's condition worsened. Her treatments were grueling. The hair loss, the pain, the weight loss, she kept it private, hidden behind designer scarves and carefully curated appearances. But the clock was ticking, and she knew it. One night, after a particularly brutal round of chemo, she called Hope and Steffi to her hospital room. No cameras, no lawyers, no power plays, just two daughters and a dying mother. "I gave you this company because I believed it was time for a new future," Brooke said, her voice thin but steady. "But I didn't give it to you to destroy each other." Neither Hope nor Steffi spoke. Their silence said everything. After Brooke fell asleep, Steffi turned to Hope. "You don't belong in that chair. You never will." Hope looked her dead in the eye. "I didn't take this from you. Your own ego gave it to me." The next day, Steffi made her boldest move yet. She filed a legal challenge, questioning Brooke's mental state at the time of the decision. She claimed the cancer treatments had impaired Brooke's judgment and demanded a court review of the CEO transition. Hope was blindsided. But Ava, ever the tactician, countered fast. Presenting medical records showing Brooke's mental clarity, statements from doctors, and video evidence of the board vote. The court sided with Hope. Again. But the damage was done. The company was bleeding. Public trust was eroding. Designers were leaving. International partners were pulling out. And in the chaos, no one noticed the real threat growing behind the scenes. Sheila Carter. She'd been watching, waiting, moving in silence. The internal war at Forrester was the perfect distraction. With the family torn apart, security lax, and media attention elsewhere, Sheila began infiltrating the shadows of the company. Through dummy corporations and shell investments, she began acquiring Forrester stock, small pieces, nothing large enough to be flagged, but enough to position herself for influence. She wasn't alone. Hope's trusted new executive, Ava Delgado, was no stranger to Sheila. They had history, deep, criminal, untraceable. Ava was the Trojan horse. And when the time came, she would open the gates from within. Steffi caught wind of the connection first. A background check. A forgotten mugshot. She took it to Hope. "She's working with Sheila," Steffi warned. "You need to fire her now." But Hope didn't believe it, or didn't want to. Ava had been her only constant through the war, the only one who hadn't betrayed her. She dismissed the accusation, accused Steffi of desperation. Big mistake. Because within weeks, Ava called an emergency meeting. With surprise stockholder support, brokered in secret by Sheila's network, she motioned to remove both Hope and Steffi from any executive control. The vote passed. Hope was out. Steffi was blocked. Ava Delgado was named interim CEO. Forrester Creations, for the first time in history, was in the hands of an outsider. But not just any outsider. A proxy for Sheila Carter. Brooke, too weak to fight, watched the empire crumble from her hospital bed. Hope and Steffi, defeated, turned their rage on each other. But they both knew this wasn't about them anymore. They'd torn each other apart so long, they'd left the door wide open for the real enemy. Now, the question wasn't who would run Forrester. It was whether Forrester would survive at all. Luna Nozawa, the once shy intern with a haunted past and conflicted bloodline, has finally gone completely off the rails. No longer content with cryptic threats or brooding glances, she has escalated to full-blown premeditated murder. And who's in her sights? None other than Steffi Forrester, the woman Luna blames for stealing her entire life. But what makes this murder plot even more twisted is that Luna isn't alone. Enter Remy Price, the notorious cybercriminal fresh out of prison and living under a false name. He crosses paths with Luna in a chance meeting at a gun range. Yes, a gun range, where Luna is literally practicing to shoot her target. What follows is a psychological collision of damaged egos, questionable loyalties, and a revenge plan that could leave multiple bodies on the floor. Let's rewind and catch you up. Luna's been living under house arrest in Bill Spencer's mansion. The walls are velvet, but her mind is a cage, and her obsession with revenge has metastasized. Luna is convinced that Steffi stole her child. An accusation rooted in some murky past trauma involving Poppy, her mother, and a long-lost baby that may or may not even exist. Whether the truth matters anymore is irrelevant. Luna believes it. And that makes it real enough to kill for. On Monday, everything ignites. After a volatile confrontation with her mother Poppy, who pleads with her to seek help and let go of vengeance, Luna doubles down instead. Nothing will stop me from getting what I deserve, she hisses before walking out. What she does next isn't metaphorical or symbolic. She walks straight into a gun shop, buys a firearm under a fake ID, and heads to a firing range. Her goal: train until her aim is flawless. Until the kill is clean. Until Steffi is gone. And fate, or perhaps just good old-fashioned soap chaos, decides to throw Remy Price into the mix. The former stalker of Electra Forrester, known for his twisted use of deepfakes and identity fraud, now goes by the name Dario and poses as a handyman. His job fixing Bill's AC unit becomes a full-blown re-entry into the Forrester-Spencer orbit, especially when Luna, bored and seething under house arrest, starts chatting him up. Their connection is instant, unnerving, and built on shared instability. By the time they cross paths again at the shooting range, it almost feels planned. Remy, unaware of Luna's vendetta, offers to help her improve her aim. He doesn't ask why she's learning to shoot. She doesn't offer. But the tension is thick. And when Luna finally really tells him, about her plan to end Steffi's life, Remy doesn't run. He doesn't call the cops. He listens, and when she asks him directly, "Would you help me do it?" he doesn't say no. By Tuesday, things get darker. Remy and Luna grow closer in the worst way. She opens up about the baby, about Steffi, about the voice in her head that tells her she'll never be free until Steffi is gone. Remy is disturbed, but also fascinated. A broken woman, weapon in hand, desperate for vengeance? It's the kind of twisted chaos he understands. He starts coaching her. Positioning. Breathing. Entry points. He's not just a bystander anymore, he's complicit. Then comes the shock. Remy confesses his truth. He knows about Steffi. About the Forrester family. He's always known. He was obsessed with Electra. He studied them all. He tells Luna he can get her inside the Cliff House without triggering alarms. He even offers to be her alibi. We can blame it on someone else, he says. Someone they already hate. Someone with a record. But Luna's not looking for a clean escape. She's looking for blood. On Wednesday, Poppy returns, desperate to stop her daughter from spiraling into a murderer. She pleads, sobs, even drops to her knees. "I made mistakes," she cries. "But you don't have to become her." The her is, of course, Sheila Carter, Luna's infamous aunt, and the poster woman for generational destruction. Luna hesitates for a moment, then shoves her mother aside. You protected Steffi. Now you're just collateral. The chilling part? She means it. Later that day, Remy confronts Luna again. He's starting to feel the heat. Bill has begun asking questions. Lee Finnegan's name has come up. Rumors are swirling about a Spencer employee helping a woman under house arrest obtain a weapon. Remy tells Luna it's getting too risky, that maybe they need to back off. But Luna doesn't tolerate betrayal. Not anymore. If you back out now, she warns, you're just as dead as she is. Thursday hits like a tidal wave. Luna's plan is in motion. She sneaks out of Bill's estate through a blind spot in the security system. Remy gives her cover, creating a fake work order that puts them both on the other side of town. But Luna doesn't go far. She heads straight for Steffi's home. She knows Steffi's routine. She knows when Kelly is at school, when Finn is at the hospital, when the guards rotate. She slips in with chilling ease. But something unexpected happens. Poppy shows up. Somehow, she figured it out. She confronts Luna again, this time inside Steffi's home. The two scream. Struggle. The gun is drawn. A show silence. When Steffi walks in minutes later, she finds her front door ajar and a body on the floor. It's Poppy. Alive, but bleeding out. Luna is gone. Friday unravels everything. Police swarm the house. Steffi is questioned. Again. Finn rushes home, finds blood on the floor, and almost collapses. Liam hears the news and demands to know who did this. But the only clue is a single word Poppy mutters before losing consciousness. Luna. Now the story fractures. Luna has vanished. Her phone is off. Her car is abandoned. But the gun is missing. Remy is interrogated. He plays dumb at first, until Lee confronts him with surveillance footage. A partial image of him outside the gun range. A timestamp. A lie he can't explain. Now Remy has a choice, confess and save himself. Or protect Luna and go down with her. Meanwhile, social media explodes. Reddit threads are predicting a massacre. Will Luna return to finish what she started? Will Remy turn hero or rat? Will Poppy survive long enough to testify? Or will she become another pawn in Luna's delusion? The wild cards start moving. Bill begins unraveling. His role in harboring Luna, even unintentionally, puts his empire at risk. Ridge threatens to sue. Brooke begs him to go to the press. But Bill's too ashamed. He turns to Lee and finally admits, I knew she was dangerous. I just didn't want to believe it. And then there's Sheila. The matriarch of madness has been silent. Watching. Waiting. But now, with her niece armed, unstable, and spiraling, Sheila makes her move. Not to save Luna, but to stop her. Because there's one thing Sheila Carter can't tolerate, someone else stealing her spotlight. The final scene of the week? Luna standing in the shadows outside Steffi's house. Gun in hand. Eyes blank. Breath steady. Inside, Steffi holds her daughter close, unaware that the barrel is already pointed toward her. And somewhere nearby, Remy loads a second gun. One will betray. One will shoot. And one might die. The endgame is here. The bold and the beautiful is no longer about love triangles or stolen designs. It's about life, death, and the thin, breaking line between madness and revenge. You wanted bold? You wanted beautiful? Now you get blood.